Wednesday, October 27th. I had a dream, but I woke up a couple of times, and I was trying to remember it, and then I did, and then I fell asleep. So then when I woke up again, I was just like, gosh darn it, what was my dream about? And then, sorry, I'm like trying to fix this. So what I wrote down from what I was able to remember, there was this feeling of, like it's even hard, like I have glimpses of it. It made more sense one of the times that I woke up, but the fragments that I have now are more of this. There's definitely this theme of a little girl and taking care of her, providing for her with a friend, but it didn't feel like she was my little girl. It was just a little girl. And there was this, we were working on building something, but I don't know what we were building. My mom was there. I don't know what she was doing there, but there was this element of waiting and seeking with my friends. And there was this element of like seeking a partner who got it. A partner who gets it. And there wasn't like a rush. Even the waiting of it wasn't like a distressful waiting. There was this feeling of like checking and evaluating before saying yes. So almost like not settling, really. Like this element of like, I'm not gonna just say yes to anybody. And I was okay with there not being someone identified, if that makes sense. Like I was good. I just felt good. People from my past were there. My ex's cousin, she was there. She has 4 kids, a set of twins also. But these twins are girls, a set of girl twins. Her husband has a brother who also, well, I'll promote him. I'm sure he won't mind. He's also gone through this process with me, spiritual awakening, and I connected with him. His name's Marty, and I'll include his Instagram links below. He's actually writing a book. I'm really excited about this book that he's writing. It's called Mission Child, and he's so talented. He's extremely talented, and he created these characters out of bread. Like they're archetypes out of bread. So I thought that was the funniest thing when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's so creative. So I followed him too. So I'll include both of those links. I'll ask him I'm sure he's fine, because, we're just promoting each other, right? And so I'll include his links and so you guys can follow him on Instagram and just check out his work and the progress that he's making. And I'm excited for this book of his. I'm really excited for it to come out. And yeah. So anyway, so he was in my dream. He was in my dream. And but I don't know what he was doing in my dream. I just remember feeling him there. And in one of the many fragments. And then there was this element of like before and after. this unfolding, like a transformation or a shift occurring in perspective, because it almost felt like the scenes were being repeated in a different way. It was interesting. So I can't remember much after that. But on another note, so this continued theme, right? That what I post, coincides with MJ's messages sometimes. And so the message that she posted today was "the money will flow," and the title of mine is "work-life balance," and she's speaking to that in the message. And it's funny because yesterday I connected with a few people about my place of employment and just letting them know, right, that this is, because one of them reached out and she said, "Yubi, I have a feeling you're doing really well." That's what she said. And she said, "I hope you're doing really well, or maybe it's just wishful thinking. For some reason, I have a feeling you're doing well or about to be doing very, very well. But I swear every time I think about moving on from her place of work, your name pops into my head. This morning I dropped off my son crying at school because he is going to miss me, and I was wishing I could pick him up from school, and your name popped into my head again. Not sure what it means, but I thought I'd finally listen and reach out. Hope life is treating you with peace and prosperity I know you deserve." So then I responded back, "Hey, I am doing very well, thank you. Things continue to get better. My healing continues and I feel more and more me each day. I hope you listen to your intuition, the little voice inside that keeps tugging at you, because when you learn to listen to the silence, silence speaks loudly. And above all, it will never lead you astray. If anything, it will help you align. I'm here if you ever want to talk about it." And she puts, "Thanks, I definitely need to listen more. My mind gets so jumbled with all of life's daily demands, plus my own anxieties, I forget to just breathe and listen to God's voice. Definitely got to work on that. Your journey is truly inspiring. You have no idea." And so that warmed my heart, really, that she finds my journey inspiring, because that's really what I had hoped would come out of it, right? This just helping people feel connected, helping people not feel alone in their healing and in their self-discovery of things that maybe might be non-traditional. That happened again yesterday with some of my clients, where they shared a little bit more about themselves, and I'm so grateful that they did, and they were hesitant to, and they share their hesitancy. A lot of it is fear of judgment. And so this continued theme, right? And I reached out to this friend and told her, she asked me, she's just like, "What do I look into? How much money," right? A lot of it is just this concept of money. And I said, I'll be honest, I don't get paid right now the same that I used to get paid at all. I mean, I went from a 6-figure income to significantly less, but I said, but I got my life back. That's the biggest thing. Like, I feel like I got my life back. And yesterday I was thinking just that too, when I was walking to Dolores Park and being able to sit and like read my book and look up at the clouds and just be present. Like, there was just, I mean, I wouldn't trade that for the world. I wouldn't. And walking back, I was just so at peace with my new routine, if you will. This routine that I have of like walking to Dolores Park every day. And if I have a chance, depending on the break, and not every day, but my work days, like my 2-hour to 3-hour gap in the day, like I go and I enjoy the walk. I enjoy the view. I enjoy the adventures that still unfold in front of me when I take different streets and the walk back. And there was just so much gratitude with my new routine. And I'm like, I just thought to myself, I'm like, I wouldn't trade this. I wouldn't trade this at all. And there's still a little concern about finances right now as the flow is coming in, and this element of like managing it, and that it's working. I'm trying not to think about it much. But it just feels good. And so yeah, I'm loving my new routine. And it's funny because I was thinking about it yesterday. This concept of a partner. and I was sitting, it's funny. I was sitting at the park and just looking around, and I kid you not, there was love everywhere. Love was everywhere. There was friendships occurring around me. There was love with your pets. I mean, 2 dogs came up to me and like they hugged me and I loved it. There was love. There was a couple that sat next to me and it looked like they were in the middle of their lunch period maybe. And they were calling each other amor. And the guy was very loud and they were having to let me like, siga comiendo amor. Like just really like loud. And she's like, sí, amor, sí, amor. And I tried not to pay attention, giving them their space, because, I mean, these are park benches. So I'm looking and reading my book and looking up and trying not to listen to them. But I'm listening, or not paying, like, turn my attention towards them, but just, I was like, eavesdropping in their conversation and just smiling at what they were talking about. And then after they were done eating, like, she climbed over his lap and he like held her like a baby, and they started making out, and they were loud kissers. I was just like, oh, they're loud kissers. But just enjoying being in that energetic exchange almost of like my presence alone. Like I could feel the love. I could feel there was a couple that were walking down with their one child, and they were each holding their hand. It just looked so lovely, and they were just walking in front of me, and I just stared at them walking off, and I'm like, oh, there's love right there. And there were these dogs that were rolling around in the grass, and their owners were just like, their caregivers were just like petting them, and there's just love there. And this friendship with this complete stranger who yelled out to this other person who was choking and saying, do you need water? Like because he you could tell something was like he was coughing. He's like, no, I'm good, thank you. This continued, and I felt it. Like I felt that love that was being exchanged, and then I was trying to figure out, do I miss it, or there was this feeling of like, not so much that I missed it, but there was this sense of gratitude of being in it. It's like, it's hard to explain, like being in it energetically, in the presence of it, unfolding in front of me in different ways, with different people, with different living beings. And that felt enough. It was just the weirdest feeling, because a part of me thought, do I miss it? But there was just so much peace of mind, acknowledging that love is all around, right? And that's a line from that one movie, Love Actually. When who was it? Hugh Grant is the voiceover, doing the voiceover at the beginning, and they're showing scenes of the airport, and whoever wrote it, right, said, when you look, like, love actually is all around, and it was just wonderful to feel that unfold in front of me. I don't know. So that happened. I I'm continuing to read my religion book, continuing to make, all my crazy notes. I'm at the part of Buddhism, and I'm trying to figure out if this is Houston's interpretation. I mean, he said he was going to stick to the facts, but then sometimes I'm just like reading some of this and it's like, wow, this is worded really harshly in a way where it's like there's this part, and so there's this part about the Four Noble Truths that he's describing or explaining about Buddhism, and then there's this part where he's using these words of like, it's a small but telling this is not the way people normally see others. Given a group photograph, whose face does one scan for first? Because it's talking about ego and this need to get rid of it, really, to get rid of it. And it oozes like a secret sore. It's a small but telling symptom of the devouring cancer that causes sorrow. The ego is a strangulated hernia. So I'm underlining these words. I'm like, it's how we perceive pain and sorrow. It goes back to that conversation that I had with this loved one of like how we perceive pain, right? We then will want to push it away or get rid of it, but it's purposeful. It's so purposeful. And to some degree, theoretically, right, the removal of self will lead us to our higher self, but the reality is that we are on this earth, and so there is an element of the ego that is required to still function. And so it speaks to when we are selfless, we are free. But that is precisely the difficulty to maintain that state. And I'm like looking at this word selfless. And this is where there's this giving of yourself, right? To removal of the self. But it's this element of it's to some degree, right? It's how we interpret selfless. Because then you have people who give too much of themselves, right? There's this continued energy output, energy output, energy output. And so there's this misconception of how they interpret that word. Even in the Bible, right? There's this element of charity, right? Of giving of yourself, and it's just how you reword it. So then I got to the Eightfold Path. I started crossing off words. I'm just like, no. And replacing words. And I'm just like, this sounds better for me. And like really making changes. And I made changes even for Hinduism too, and just going through it. And I'm probably going to continue to make changes as I move forward. Because who says I can't? Really? Who says that I can't make changes, reword this in a way that makes more sense for me? That makes me feel more aligned, where I'm not being polarized from one extreme of being right or wrong, but just is, and that it's just a life experience and it's purposeful, and because it's purposeful, it's perfect, and what a world it would be if we can look at these life challenges in that manner, and in a certain way, right? In my practice, I'm helping these people reframe these unhelpful self-talks, unhelpful thought processes that are very polarized. And so as I'm helping them reframe these thoughts to help them feel more aligned, there's this element of like, does it have to be right? Does it have to be wrong? Can it just be, right? And when we question, well, why, right? Why does this continue to happen to me, right? Why do these life lessons, these challenges continue to happen to me? Then there's this element of like, well, maybe it's to continue to develop you, to expose you, right? Because someone once said, how can I help? People often come to me. And that's the funny thing. A lot of these individuals, people often come to them for help. And now they're the ones that are struggling. And it's this continued theme of like, it's because you're now having to learn that lesson of asking for help, right? You're experiencing what you're experiencing in order to become familiar with it, so that when someone else is suffering, when someone else is going through that, you're able to pick it up, you're able to see it, so you're able to connect with them at a deeper level. It's using your Chiron for healing, really. And then there's this element of like, wow, never thought about it that way. And is it helpful? Really? And the answer is always yes. For the most part. Except for some that are very ingrained in this pessimistic view of the world, but then that's the question of, when did it become this way for you, right? What there must have been a turning point of when this was highlighted for you in that manner. So let's explore that. Where was that? Where did that come from for you? So anyways, I was getting stuck at a certain point of identifying this other triangle of being, because I was thinking about the dream that I had, the three groups of people where one was awake, one was completely, there was this element of ignorance, right? Asleep, of just not knowing. And then so then I'm like, well, what is the resistance of it? How would you reword that? You know, if one's awake, one's asleep, then what's the middle? And then I put even here, I'm like, ask Gary, what's between asleep and awake? And then yesterday while I was at Dolores Park, I was like, oh, silly, sleepwalking. So just, and you know, silly you be, right? But either embracing it, being in complete ignorance, or being resistant to looking at things in a different way, really, right? So I'm going through this book. I'm making changes, editing the the world religions for my own use, right? In terms of how I'm viewing the world and how I've experienced the world and how I see other people experience it. And you know what? It makes sense for me. And until I find something that resonates. And the thing is that it's just a little bit of everything, really. So far, right? There's truth. There's a little bit of truth in everything. And it's just how we perceive it. And you know, what makes sense for you, really. Doesn't make any of the other ones right or wrong. They are what they are. They serve their purpose. But things continue to change. Things continue to unfold in a different way. And it's a choice. It's always a choice. To change or to stay the same. Whatever flies your boat, you know? Whatever tickles you. For me, this makes sense. And there's this sense of like, you know, who says I can't rewrite it? Who says I can't make it my own? You know? Make it seem more digestible and applicable, really applicable to how society has changed. Yeah, that's all. That's what I've been working on. I'm gonna go meditate because I didn't meditate yesterday. And maybe I'll walk to Face Coffee Shop. Because that was the next video that I was getting ready to post for Friday, since I'm only doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I have a little card. That's where my cousin works. And so I went in and I purchased like a gift card for myself, so I don't have to keep like swiping my card. So I think I have like 10 or 12 drinks on my little card on the wall. It's really cool how they do it. And even though that's like not the closest coffee shop to me, it's about 20 minutes away walking. I don't mind walking there. I don't mind supporting their business. It's a really cool little shop, coffee shop, and it's near Dolores Park, so I just like it. That's all. Bye. Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us, in whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best.